Hi, I'm Kayley.
I'm Cheyenne.
I'm Abby.
And we're from Chapter 6 from Newsom High School. We chose to do the Sustainability Challenge, and we're focusing on reducing and educating about food waste and why food waste matters.
This is our table of contents, and this is our planning process. The first step, we identified the concerns of how food waste was impacting Earth through our schools, our community, and our society.
Next, we set a goal, and our goal was to reduce food waste at the local level by teaching and informing the community about the issue. As part of a goal, we want people to change their current habits and be aware of what they can do to limit food waste.
Then we formed a plan to educate the community about food waste as well as encouraging a change in their homes. We plan to create a vermiculture bin at a local church for the community as well as smaller ones at all of our homes.
To act on this, we will meet with Pastor Corey at the local church to discuss placement and responsibility details for the community bin. We will create a large bin at the church and a small one at each of our homes. We will present about food waste to students at multiple elementary schools and create take-home vermiculture bins with the students. We will also speak with a local Boy Scout troop on how they can create a change. And we will plan to start a social media blog to provide public awareness.
We will continue to monitor the food waste drop-offs on Wednesdays to ensure that the correct materials are being put in the bin and to collect the data. We plan to collect the worm tea and castings to share amongst the community.
This is our project summary submission sheet.
Food waste is any food discarded, lost, or left uneaten. This is a very important issue and it takes place in many of our wealthy countries. This issue could also be used to resolve the malnourishment found in underdeveloped countries as well as those within our environment.
Food waste occurs throughout the food production chain in many places. First, in the ag production where any food damaged via spills, insects, or disease is thrown out. Next, during harvest and storage, spoiled product or product that's not meeting FDA standards is thrown out.
Then, in processing, product lost during pasteurization, canning, slicing, and peeling is thrown out. In distribution, sell-by dates and spoiled products are automatically thrown out. And last, in consumption, 30 to 50% of groceries get thrown away.
This impacts our schools due to the federal school lunch mandate, which forces children to take either fruit or vegetable with their meal, wasting nutritional items and USDA funds which could be spent elsewhere. Schools across our nation waste about $1.2 billion of food each year.
Food waste affects our community by using up large amounts of energy, land, fertilizer, chemicals, and fresh water. This also accounts for 30% of our methane emissions, a powerful greenhouse gas that is an effect of human civilization.
This affects our society by the 30% of food waste caused methane emissions can potentially create a larger hole in our already depleting ozone layer. By wasting land and various things needed to grow this food, the total money loss is an average of $160 billion a year.
The purpose of the ozone layer is to absorb ultraviolet sunlight before it reaches the Earth. This absorbs an average of 98% of this DNA-destroying radiation. And in 1987, a hole the size of the United States was found above Antarctica. The depleting ozone layer releases chlorofluorocarbons, which can destroy our ozone layer even more. When methane forms with chlorine or bromine, it forms a chlorofluorocarbon, which in turn breaks down the ozone layer faster than it can be replenished.
There are multiple ways consumers can reduce food waste: donating to food rescue programs, improving storage methods, better expiration date labels, consumer awareness campaigns, composting, and vermiculture.
What is vermiculture? It is also referred to as vermicompost. It is the product of the decomposition process using various species of worms. We used African night crawlers to create a mixture of decomposing food waste. The decomposing food and worm mixture creates worm castings and tea.
Vermiculture has many benefits. It helps recycle organic matter to conserve landfill space and reduce carbon emissions. It creates worm castings, an organic fertilizer, and tea, which are high in nitrates, phosphates, magnesium, calcium, and potassium. It contains 50% more humus than the average topsoil, as well as helping the soil to retain moisture. Lastly, it saves local governments money by not having to collect this extra waste.
Our project creates consumer awareness by informing community members ranging from elementary school to adulthood about the importance of recycling food waste and its effects on the environment. Our goal is for people to develop recycling habits now to carry into their future.
The vermiculture portion of our project involves placing a collection bin at the local church for members of the community to place leftover recyclable food scraps in. This way, the wasted food scraps from their homes will be turned into environmentally friendly fertilizers.
This project uses total involvement from our community members, and because of this aspect, they are responsible for sorting their food scraps, placing them in the bin, and logging the amount brought in. This helps give the community knowledge to manage their own bins at home. We did several presentations showing how to make a small starter bin at home with just 2 cups. We have posted steps on how we created our personal bins and the bin located at the church on our Food Waste Matters social media account.
On our Facebook page, we post videos, facts, and important information about food waste, its impact on our environment, what food waste is, and how you can reduce food waste. We also have created videos and instructions for how to use our vermiculture bin.
We also met with Amy Schechter, a reporter from the Osprey Observer, on March 4th, 2020. The Osprey Observer is a local community newspaper that publishes more than 80,000 copies each month. Our interview will be published in one of the upcoming April editions. These papers are distributed to homes as well as businesses and churches.
Our project is about food waste. We are addressing food waste by educating others and showing others what they can do to use their food waste in a way to put nutrients back into our soil. We also created recycled products. We also used recycled products to create our vermiculture bin, and we recycled donated wood for our other bins.
As part of this journey, the community is seeing the project implemented from start to finish and can use this knowledge to start their own project at home. In order to ensure continuation of the project, we presented to a local Boy Scout troop in hopes that once we are finished, they will be willing to take charge in monitoring and distributing the fertilizer. This would promote the sustainability of the project.
A way to improve this project would be to extend it to other local communities around Tampa Bay. We can also implement a food waste program for food waste that is unable to go into the bin. We are searching for a farmer to see if they are willing to accept food waste scraps that are not compostable.
These are our bins that we used from donated and recycled wood from wood pallets and materials found from farm construction.
This is a letter from one of the schools we presented to, and that's a picture of us. And here's the other 2 letters from the other classrooms we presented to.
First, we presented at Kids Community College on November 20th, then at Fishaw Creek Elementary School on November 21st. We presented to these 2 schools as part of the Great American Teach-In. Each class had about 22 students. The presentations for each class lasted about 30 to 40 minutes.
The presentation consisted of education on food waste and creating mini vermiculture bins. Targeting children at the elementary level will reduce their environmental impact over the course of their lives in terms of water, soil, and greenhouse emissions. We hope to show them their part in reducing food waste while demonstrating how they can individually make a difference.
Next, we presented to a local Boy Scout troop. And at this presentation on December 28th in 2019 at the AMVETS Post, we educated the troop about food waste and the effects of it. We also discussed with them appropriate foods to be recycled and foods that could not be recycled. We also distributed a flyer educating about food waste, which included a diagram on how to create their own individual food waste bin and personal ways to combat food waste.
This was the flyer that we presented to Pastor Corey and Pastor Eddie to ask them if we could put our bin at their location.
We presented to Pastor Corey on December 31st, 2019. He then met with other church pastors and sought approval for the project. We were granted approval on January 7, 2020, and given a location to set the vermiculture bin on January 22nd, 2020. We have presented to the congregation and notified the community on Facebook now that the worms have arrived. The educational scope of having a community food waste bin is that we are reducing food waste while engaging the community members. They may also take our design and create their own individual bins at their home. This church has over 1,000 members, and the local community also has access to the bin.
This is our Facebook page where we update the community on our bin and they can ask questions about our bin.
The scope of our educational presentations were for a variety of different age groups. We began educating students from the ages of 9 and 10 at local elementary schools and taught them at a young age, which would help enforce these good habits so that they can implement them when they are older.
We then educated a Boy Scout troop with ages ranging between 14 to 18. We chose to focus on them because they are the next generation of adults who can make a change.
And lastly, we are informing adults in the community of the issue by creating the bin for everyone to contribute to. We chose this age group because they can currently make the necessary changes, and their children witnessing these changes could help influence their future actions. An added benefit is allowing those to see how much food they are wasting with the hope of making them make changes to reduce food waste before it can happen.
We evaluated our educational presentations by providing an informational flyer to students with take-home instructions on how to make their own vermiculture bins. We also answered questions students had about food waste, increasing their knowledge of food waste and ways to reduce it. Our project is just getting started due to the process of finding a place to put our food bin. And as part of this project, we are creating a data log of individual community member contributions to our food waste bin. We also are interacting with our members on our Facebook page, Food Waste Matters.
Our composting project relates to family and consumer science by teaching students how to recycle food waste by vermiculture. It also helps them to understand the vermiculture process. It reinforces food waste reduction while putting nutrients back into the ground via casting and tea. It educates future generations while helping community members to understand and take responsibility for food waste effects on the environment.
And this is our bibliography. Thank you for listening to our project.